And good morning, evening, afternoon, depending on what part of the globe you're on and what time zone you are in. I'm Skeptically Speaking.
And I'm Sweet Pea from across the pond.
And you found us. Yes, you did. You did find us. On YouTube, of all places. But that's not the only place you can find us. Can you guess where you can find us? No, you're guessing, aren't you? You can find us on TikTok, Blue Sky, Discord, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Kick, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, and Substack. Yes, you can. And if you want more independent media in your life, please consider adding our show to your lineup. You can support the show, Cash App, Venmo, or become a patron subscriber. Links will be down in the description. How are you doing, Sweet Pea?
I'm okay. I got a little bit of a sore throat today, but otherwise all right. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm all right. You know?
I'm glad you're good. Got anything nice to drink today?
Well, I do have my lemonade and vodka. Better this time. I think I'm going to save the mango vodka for pure ease instead of my lemonade.
I'm going to stick to my nut juice.
Aha.
And make of that what you will.
Yeah, we're going to let our imaginations just soar with that one.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Just know that it is soy. So there's no, that protein in it. You're thinking of your dirty so-and-sos. But it's soya milk, it is. From almond soya milk.
Yeah, so today's show, talking about the targeting of civilians by the regime of Iran, Khomeini, the Ayatollah. Basically, the internet is completely shut down in Iran. So it's really hard for us to get verified sources of what's going on. In fact, what's interesting is the day I picked the title, 400 dead, that was the latest that we knew about, 400 dead. I mean, it's as many as 12,000. We were starting to receive reports that as many as 12,000 just killed. And now, high-ranking officials within the Iranian government are talking about expedited executions of protesters who are arrested because it is against the law to protest against the regime in Iran. Basically, Iran is doing what the Trump administration would like to do here in this country. And Trump supporters are A-okay with that. What's interesting is when Charlie Kirk got shot, the first thing they did was blame Democrats and liberals, and they were asking Trump for the go-ahead to go ahead and start rounding up Democrats and going door to door. They were really ready for a civil war until they found out, oh, it was one of us who shot Charlie Kirk. Oops. Well, maybe we should just have silence. We should all get together. We need to pray more and blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut the fuck up, you lame-ass motherfuckers. Anyway, back to Iran. Yeah, so this total crackdown has been, it's been horrific. Just what little news is coming out, it's the stuff of nightmares. For instance, let me see if I can pull up. I got a couple of pictures. So here are all of the hot spots, all the locations where protests have sprouted up, and then you've got Tehran right up here at the top. So evidently the quality of life has really gone down in Iran since 2008. That's a long, holy shit, that's almost 20 years of just downward decline of a economy. But it looks like Iran has not recovered from their crash. That's an interesting timetable, because that's when we had our crash here in the United States. I mean, I'm sure it affected the entire world, some more than others, but it's kind of weird how it's like, wow, have we been that interconnected with Iran? It's like, wow. So, as of January 12th, this has been what's been going on, and they're really ramping up, and I mean, take a look. You've got this is a bus that the government just burned out. Or maybe protesters burned it. I'm not really sure. It doesn't really give who did what, but yeah, the Iranian forces are basically sniping citizens from tops of buildings. We're going to be reading a story about somebody who lost their wife in one of the protests, and they're like, we don't even know where the bullet came from. Here's a picture of body bags. This was smuggled out of Iran. So, yeah. When people have nothing else to lose, man, they will burn shit to the ground. So, yeah, they're not the Iranian regime is not going to be in for a good time when this is all said and done. Now they're thinking of bringing the Shah back, one of his sons or grandsons. It's like, it's like from the frying pan into the fire. I mean, the Shah of Iran back in the 70s, I mean, he had secret police, he had torture chambers. I mean, life under a Shah is not going to be much better. It's going to be good for business interests, people who own corporations, but the everyday people are going to suffer. It's just sad. But it's going to get worse before it gets better. All right, let's dive right in. Oh, goodness. So we have... Let's see if I can center these articles here. By the way, all the articles that we read from are going to be in the description. You can read them at your leisure. Title of this is from the BBC. I carried my wife's body for an hour and a half. So heading home after joining a protest in Tehran on January the 8th, Reza put his arm around his wife, Miriam, to protect her. Suddenly I felt my arm go light. There was only her jacket in my hands, he told a family member. Miriam had been fatally shot, and they have no idea where the bullet came from. Reza carried Miriam's body for an hour and a half. Exhausted, he sat down in an alley. After a short time, the door of a nearby house opened. The people who lived there took them into their garage, brought a white sheet, wrapped Miriam's body in it. Days before Miriam headed out to the protest, she had told her children aged 7 and 14 about what was happening in their country. Sometimes parents go to the protests and don't come back. My blood and yours is no more precious than anyone else's. Of course, Reza and Miriam's names have been changed for safety purposes. Miriam is one of thousands of protesters who should have returned home but never did, as the authorities responded to the rapid spread of demonstrations across Iran with a deadly crackdown. The U.S.-based Iranian human rights activist news agency says it has been able to confirm the killing of at least 2,400 protesters, including 12 children. That's how serious things are getting in that country. It is extremely difficult to determine the death toll, which is expected to rise in the coming days because the country remains under a near total internet blackout imposed by Iranian authorities. Human rights groups have no direct access to the country, along with international news organizations. The BBC is unable to report on the ground. Iranian authorities have not provided a death toll, but local media have reported 100 security personnel have been killed, and protesters, whom they portrayed as rioters and terrorists, have set fire to dozens of mosques and banks in various cities. Yikes. That's wild. Demonstrations begin in the capital, following a sharp fall in the value of the Iranian currency against the dollar. As the protests reached dozens of other towns and cities, they turned against Iran's clerical rulers. Yeah, I think the people of Islam have had enough of Islamic rule and edicts and dictates, and we can argue the specificities. I mean, are they actually following the Quran, or are they just hadiths? But it's authoritarian, and people have had enough. And you have an article. All right, if it'll let me, let's see. Layers of body bags. Protester described horror of Iran. This is ITV News. Maybe. Let's see. One man told ITV News that he saw layers of bodies and bags as a result of the protests. Let's see. Thousands of people, families running to find bodies, and I saw three large trucks with refrigerators headed to these two warehouses. We know what that's about. A husband and wife are thought to be killed in the protests. Man, leaving their two girls. Kiarash described what he heard during the protest. The shooting, I heard it was constant. 1 hour of gunshots. He has since left Iran and is now in Germany. The bodies of Kirash... the bodies Kirash saw were just some of the 2,571 people who were thought to have been killed during the protests. What's the date of this article? January 14th, so this was very recently. Husband and wife killed in the protests. The head of Iran's judiciary has signaled that there will be fast trials and executions for those detained in How many people have been arrested? I know it's like thousands upon thousands. How many arrests have been made?
I don't know about arrests, but in the article it says the bodies that Karash saw were about 2,571. And there was small body bags amongst the adults.
Yeah. All right, let's continue. ABC News. Protests have been spreading. Protests spread. They've taken on a more explicitly anti-government tone, which is considered a capital crime. A sustained national internet outage. Okay, we know that. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini and top Iranian officials have said they are willing to engage with economic grievances of protesters, though have framed the unrest as driven by rioters and terrorists. Okay, we know that. Let's see. President Mossad Pezeshkian was quoted by state media telling a meeting with economy ministry officials that if economic conditions were improved, we wouldn't be witnessing their protests on the streets. Iran's exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, who from his base in the U.S. has become a prominent critic of the Iranian government, on Monday appealed to Trump to act in support of the protesters. Yeah, that's amazing. Isn't that ironic? If Donald Trump acts on behalf of the protesters, but he's sending his goon squads against us who protest his nasty, disgusting regime.
I think it's that sad old adage that Trump thinks do as he says and not what he does.
Yeah, I wish I could get some concrete arrest numbers. So we have a savage crackdown, over 200 cities, where that's a lot of protests. Holy shit. That is unheard of. Well, not unheard of. I shouldn't say that. 200 cities. That's quite a bit of protesting.
I'm going to send you an article. It says about 10,000 people have been arrested. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to send it to you now.
Okay. Let's see. 3,000 killed. Value. Okay, go. 3,428 killed. That's 10,000 people have been arrested. What is the date on this one? Not too long ago.
Yesterday. Yesterday, is it? The 14th of January.
Yeah. Following the mass killing of protesters on the streets in recent days, the Islamic Republic's judiciary is threatening protesters with large-scale executions. Yeah, that's going to shut down the protests. Good luck with that. International communities must take these threats extremely seriously because officials of the Islamic Republic committed similar crimes in the 1980s in order to hold on to power. The head of Iran's judiciary signaled on Wednesday there would be fast trials and executions. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is saying, no, they're not going to do that. So basically, they're saying if they don't get this done, if they don't start...
They're already doing it. They're already murdering people with these public executions of protesters.
And then Trump is saying, if they do such a thing, we will take very strong action. That could mean anything. So, ATMs and windows are covered with metal sheets after anti-government protests in Tehran. Yeah, we urge the Iranian authorities to exercise full restraint, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, it's amazing because there used to be these goon squads that would police, the morality police, I can't remember what they were called, but they would literally kidnap women that they felt were not dressed properly. This was state sanctioned. So when people are pissed off beyond all measure, yeah, good luck trying to get them on your side, right? But yeah, just a shadow of things to come here in the U.S. But isn't it hypocritical for us to intervene to protect Iranian protesters, and we brutalize and abuse them right here in this country? Elsewhere, people remained fearful in the streets. Plainclothes security forces still circulated around some neighborhoods, though anti-riot police and members of the paramilitary Revolutionary Guards, all volunteer Basij force, appear to have been sent back to their barracks. We are very frightened because of these sounds and gunfire and protests. We have heard many are killed and many are injured. Now peace has been restored, but schools are closed, and I'm scared to send my children to school again. Yeah.
The word you, sorry to interrupt, the word you were looking for earlier was morality police.
Morality police, yeah.
Iranian morality police, and they would actively detain, arrest, and penalise women who are not addressed according to the country's strict mandatory dress codes, and that still goes on today.
Yeah, that would be the first. That would be the first group to target and take out. Yeah, something to look forward to, guys. Well, looks like we're going to be involved in quite a few conflicts and wars. So let's run down the gamut. We're murdering people on the high seas in the Caribbean. We just abducted Maduro in Venezuela. We're threatening Greenland. Yeah, the No News administration, the No New Wars administration is definitely getting us involved in quite a few more conflicts. So we're going to be fighting on all fronts. We're going to be fighting Europe. And isn't it amazing that they're prepping to protect the residents of Greenland from U.S. aggression? That is pretty sad. Oh, did you hear that Trump got flipped off at a Ford manufacturing facility?
I heard that someone called him a Pete.
Yeah,
and then he flipped them off.
Yeah, he flipped them off. That's correct.
Yeah, he stuck his little baby.
His little baby doll hands.
Yeah, he stuck his
He's
little
like,
baby.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
That's our president.
Was a Democrat.
Protecting pedophiles.
If that was a Democratic president that had done that, the right would be screaming how unpresidential that is.
Yeah. After, you know what? If a Democrat ever sits in the Oval Office, I don't want to hear fucking shit. I'm not going to listen to a fucking thing. I don't want to hear a single complaint. I don't want to hear a single word of condemnation about his or her actions. Well, he's not. They're not acting presidential. Fuck you.
Live update just come in. France has confirmed NATO is to deploy troops to Greenland to defend against Trump's invasion if he tries anything.
I'll tell you what. Any troops that participate or that obey unlawful orders to deploy to Greenland, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to wish them well. I'm not going to. You know what? I'll be rooting for European NATO forces. That's who I'm going to be rooting for. You can call me anti-American if you want. You can say this or that, but no.
Can I just correct you? It is not being anti-American. It is being anti-Trump.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Racism, misogyny, and
anti-dictator antics.
White supremacy is baked so deep into the American, what it is to be American. I mean, it's like, it is almost un-American to talk against it. You know what I mean? Because it's so much a part of what America is. To speak against it is almost to be anti-American. Now, if that isn't peak irony, I don't know what is.
Do you know, there are still people that have got this flawed misconception that if you speak out against something that you don't agree with, then all of a sudden you're anti whatever nationality you are. How about people just don't want to live in a dictatorship with authoritarian figures that have their heads up their own asses? You know?
Yeah.
People want to be free to, like, you know, just be free. We don't want to listen to dictators. If Trump wants to be a dictator, he can move to his island and he can be the dictator of that little island that he owns.
And with that, we'll pause for a music break. And away we go to our next story. So the Ford worker that called Trump he basically called Trump a pedophile protector. He was immediately suspended and he's going to be soon fired. So a fundraiser for the employee has reached over, it has raised over $100,000 in just hours. So it's please help us raise funds for Patriot TJ Sabula. TJ was suspended from his job at the Ford Automotive Company for correctly calling President Donald Trump a pedophile protector. Sean Williams, the organizer, wrote on the page, it comes after the president was touring Ford's F-150 plant in Detroit when a worker yelled, pedophile protector at him. According to the video obtained by the news outlet, Trump appeared to utter an expletive in response and gave the middle finger. It comes amid renewed attention on the Trump administration's slow release of the records related to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, not to mention they're heavily redacted to where they're almost unreadable. Entire pages have been blacked out. Fuck these people. White House Director Stephen Chung, a lunatic was wildly screaming expletives in a complete fit of rage, and the president gave an appropriate and ambiguous response. Whatever. So, I'm glad he's going to be taken care of. He's probably going to get more money than he would working for Ford. And if Ford wants to do that, fuck them. Department of Homeland Security changes story of Maryland ICE shooting after local police release contradicting details. Well, why are we not surprised? Homeland Security lying about what happened. Department of Homeland Security has altered its account of an immigration enforcement-related shooting in a Baltimore suburb. This was around Christmas. So, custom enforcement officers defensively fired at a van occupied by two undocumented immigrants during an enforcement operation in Glen Burnie, Maryland. After the driver rammed ICE vehicles while trying to flee and then drove his van directly at ICE officers attempting to run them over. That's what DHS said. The driver was shot and wounded, and the passenger was injured when the van crashed seconds later, according to the statement from DHS. The department now says the injured man was not in the van, but was a passenger in one of the ICE vehicles that was rammed. The changed account comes as DHS faces increased scrutiny over the fatal shooting of Minneapolis woman by an ICE agent last week, and more broadly over the veracity of the information the department puts forward regarding federal officers' actions. We need to start assuming that anything coming out of DHS is a lie. They have shown they will lie. And the fact that the police are contradicting the report, that's wild. Quote, to clarify preliminary information released publicly on the shooting involving ICE agents, one ICE detainee who was injured during the incident was already in custody in an ICE vehicle, and the other individual injured was struck by gunfire while operating a separate vehicle. Wow. ICE officers were conducting targeted immigration enforcement operation to induct, Tiago, a Portuguese man, and Salvadorian national, Salomon Antonio, the man authorities now say was in an ICE vehicle, fearing for their lives and public safety. Wait, since when do these fuckers care about public safety? Look at how they brutalize the public. Officers defensively fired their service weapons, striking the driver. Yeah. Souza then wrecked his car between two buildings. DHS has not responded to CNN's request for clarification on that detail. So officers immediately gave medical care, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Last week, shooting of Renee Good has drawn outcry and massive protests both Minneapolis and across the country. A day after Good was killed, a Border Patrol agent in Portland shot and injured two people who authorities say were associated with Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang. Of course, no proof of that. Of course, they don't have proof and they don't give proof. So more lies from the DHS. That's great. Oh, an update on the Pentagon boat strike. War crime has been busted open. Let's see. The Trump administration may have committed a war crime. May have committed a war crime? Wow, that's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Trump administration may have committed a war crime when it carried out strikes in an alleged drug smuggling boat in the Caribbean last year. The Pentagon used an aircraft painted to look like a civilian plane and carried its weaponry inside the fuselage rather than under its wings. Legal experts say that could amount to a war crime of perfidy, which prohibits such tactics of disguise. Go ahead.
So news in from 6 a.m., like my time this morning. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton have declined to testify in the Epstein files.
Oh no. I'm gonna I'm going to see if I give a complete entire fuck. No, I don't. I don't have a single fuck to give. I have no fucks to give. My fucks have gone on home. Da 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 da. Oh, yeah. Sorry, little blast from the past. I have no fucks to give. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I don't care. I mean, Republicans all throughout the impeachment hearings, all throughout the House committee hearings, they have ignored every subpoena that was given to them. Fuck them. I don't care. Let them do their investigation. I don't care if the Clintons, and first of all, Hillary Clinton is a lawyer. This is not her first. I mean, she had her own law firm. So I think they know, if they can get away with this or not. But like I've said before, if Clinton is guilty of anything, of abuse of children, throw him under the jail. I don't care.
Yeah. Anyone that was hurting, abusing, or doing anything to children with Epstein or otherwise, they need to be held accountable. They need to hold their feet to the fire, and justice needs to be done. They need to be in prison, and they need to be on lists to protect children.
Absolutely. Now, let's go.
Does not matter who they are.
Going back to the article involving the war crime, Pete Hegseth gave the order to kill everybody. I mean, if that's not a violation, if that is not a war crime, I don't know what is. So, even some Trump administration officials have recognized the issue there. One official said to Zeteo, which is now I can't even think of it, the guy's name. He used to work for MSNBC. He'll come to me. I've got his face in my head. But anyway, one of the officials said, "Well, I'm not even a military lawyer, and I knew this would be illegal. I've said as much to several colleagues." He was let go. No, not Matthew Dowd. He's Middle Eastern. Oh, God damn it. Where's he from? No. So they're still bombing boats in the Caribbean, boats that would never make it to U.S. soil, ever. They would literally have to refuel 20, 30 times just to make it one way. And these fuckers are just blowing up boats because they can. So, yeah. I'll tell you what, war crimes, that's going to be interesting.
Probably going to butcher this name. Diaz Barlett?
No.
Okay.
U.S. military utilizes a wide array of standard and non-standard aircraft, depending on mission requirements. Prior to the fielding and employment of each aircraft, they go through a rigorous procurement process to ensure compliance with domestic. Yeah, we know that's a lie. So, yeah, war crimes are still abounding, and they're going to continue to go on. So Mehdi Hassan. It's Mehdi Hassan. It just popped into my head. I knew it. I knew it would come eventually. Mehdi Hassan.
This is what I was literally just about to say to you. I just literally seen his name now. Mehdi Hassan.
Yeah. So apparently, Russia is so desperate for more people to put in their army, they're using this woman to lure men into the military. This is wild. Okay? This is pretty wild. I really don't know what to make of this story. We were tricked. I'm looking at her and I'm like, goodness, are these men this desperate? So her name is Polina Azarnik. Frequently posts images of herself with new recruits, including the Syrian group. Okay, whatever. Flames lick around the edges of Omar's passport. It's burning well, an unseen woman says in Russian in the video. Omar, a 26-year-old Syrian construction worker, had been deployed for about 9 months on the front line of Russia's war in Ukraine. When the clip arrived on his phone, he knew the woman's voice. It was Polina Alexandrovna Azarnik, who he says had helped him sign up to fight for Russia, promising lucrative work and Russian citizenship. But now she was angry. Huh. In a series of voice notes from Ukraine, Omar, speaking under a pseudonym for safety, describes how he ended up trapped and terrified in a war zone. He said Polina had promised that if he paid her $3,000, she would ensure he stayed in a non-combat role. But he says he was sent into battle with just 10 days of training, so he refused to pay, and she eventually responded by burning his passport. He says he tried refusing to take part in a mission, but his commanders threatened to kill or jail him. We were tricked. This woman is a con artist and a liar. Well, she's Russian. BBC Eye investigation has followed how Polina, a 40-year-old former teacher, uses a Telegram channel to lure young men, often from poor countries, into joining Russian military. Dumb as fuck, too. The former teacher's smiling video messages and upbeat posts offer one-year contracts for military service. The BBC World Service has identified nearly 500 cases where she has provided documents referred to as invitations, which allow the recipient to enter Russia to join the military. There have been for men, mainly from Syria, Egypt, and Yemen, who appear to have sent her their passport details in order to enlist. But recruits and their relatives have told the BBC that she misled men into believing they would avoid combat. It's like, do you not have any news in your country? Do you not see? Are you guys this blind? You're this ill-informed? You don't see what's happening to people who join the Russian military? They failed to make it clear that they could not leave after a year and threatened those who challenged her. When contacted by the BBC, she rejected the allegations. 12 families told us of young men they say were recruited by her who are now dead or missing. Domestically, Russia has expanded conscription, recruited prisoners, and offered increasingly generous sign-up bonuses to maintain its operations in Ukraine despite substantial losses. Go ahead.
I'm going to drop my sweetness for a second, and I'm going to be very viciously honest.
Go ahead.
She is not worth signing your life away for, unless her is made of gold.
Well, I mean, I can't believe
these men desperate.
I can't believe you'd believe anything coming out of, Russian propaganda. They don't even know how they don't even know how many how many people have joined Russia's military. They think maybe close to 20,000 including countries such as Cuba, Nepal, and North Korea. Ukraine has suffered significant troop losses too, but also have taken foreign fighters into its ranks. So
I want to know who told her it was a good idea to take Granny's bed sheet and make a dress out of it. And yes, I'm being very vicious and nasty.
yeah, I mean, if that's all it takes for you to join a murderous regime,
yeah.
Goodness gracious. Jobs in Syria were scarce and low paid. Omar says a recruiter there had offered the men that they had understood to be civilian work guarding oil facilities in Russia. They flew to Moscow only to learn they had been scammed. Well, of course, you're dealing with Russians. Of course you got scammed. Searching online for options, Omar says one of the group found Azarnik's channel and messaged her. She met them at the airport within hours and took them by train to a recruitment center in Bryansk, Western Russia. There, he says, she offered them 1-year contracts with the Russian army with a monthly salary equivalent to 2,500 or 1,856 pounds and a sign-up payment of 3,000 pounds, sums that they could only dream of in Syria. Omar says the contracts were in Russian, which none of the men understood, and she took their passports, promising to arrange Russian citizenship. She also promised they could avoid combat roles if they paid her $3,000 each from their sign-up payments. So she's making bank. So she's really scamming hard.
Cheers. And I implore people, if you do not understand what is in a contract, don't sign it.
Yeah.
Take it to your lawyers.
Well, they don't have access.
Just don't sign it then. Just do not sign anything in a foreign language that you do not understand. Hell, if you cannot understand something in your own language that is in a contract,
desperate people do desperate things. He says within about a month, he was on the front lines. 10 days of training, no military experience. In one note he sent to the BBC, he said, we're going to 100%, we're going to die here. A lot of injuries, a lot of explosions, a lot of shelling, and if you don't die from explosion, you die from the debris landing on you. That was back in May 2024. Dead bodies everywhere. I've stepped on dead bodies. God forgive me, he reports the following month. If someone dies, I've seen it with my own eyes, they put him in a rubbish bag and throw him next to a tree. That's how much they care. That is about all you're worth to Russians. They'll use you, and as soon as you're dead, they throw you in a garbage bag. I mean, hell, we saw reports of areas that were formerly controlled by Russian troops, and how they tortured children, threw their bodies in garbage bags, and threw them in mass graves.
Yeah, and the children that they kidnapped, that they didn't murder, they enlisted for them to fight for them.
What an ugly bitch, too. Who is watching her and saying, oh, yeah, let's sign up? My good God, at least the U.S. military had Hollywood actresses to run their propaganda campaigns. Jesus.
I'm not being mean, but she literally looks like the Karen next door. And she does.
Yeah. Her Telegram channel has 21,000 subscribers. Her posts have often told readers wanting to apply to join the Russian military to send her a scan of their passport. She has then posted invitation documents, sometimes with a list of names of the men they are for. The BBC has identified more than 490 such invitations that she has sent over the past year to men from countries including Yemen, Syria, Egypt, Morocco, Iraq, Ivory Coast, and Nigeria. Her posts have mentioned recruitment for an elite international battalion and made it clear that people in Russia illegally, including those whose visas have expired are eligible. Yeah.
You can't travel if your visa's expired.
In Russia, you can, as long as you're going to willingly sign up for the Russian military. They'll take you.
That's a hard pass. No, thank you.
They're recruiting these young men from universities. How bad is life in your country to where you're going straight from university right into the Russian military? God damn.
Do you know, I just had a really nasty thought. I need to meme her picture. Looks like grandma's bedsheet, but smells like Stramen.
I mean,
I know, really nasty.
I mean, you tell me.
Have you ever smelled Stramen?
Can't say I have. I'm just gonna label her nasty ass.
It's fermented fish. And when you open the tin of Stramen, it squirts everywhere this terrible stink. That's what I think she smells like. I think she smells like a tin of Stramen.
This is the recruiter. This is the number one recruiter, and they're allowing her to skim off the top and scam people by if you give me money, I'll make sure that you get put here, get put there. Nasty ass bitch. It's like, okay, well, I mean, I'm sorry, but where does common sense come in? Where does, holy shit, this is not adding up.
She's using filters on her pictures to make her look more appealing.
Well, the filters ain't working. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
She broke them within 2 seconds of using. I'm sorry, that was nasty.
One of them said the Arabs who are coming they're dying immediately. Some people have lost their minds. It's hard to see dead bodies. Yeah, they're seeing war for the first time, and they're 10 days of training, and then you're being thrown into the front lines. None of them knew how to use a weapon. Even if they were shot at, they would choose not to shoot back. If you don't shoot, you will be killed. Polina would take the men knowing they were going to die. So she's getting rich off this. Can you imagine how many people are just so desperate they're throwing money at her just so they get put in so that way they're not in harm's way? Goodness gracious. Wow. So in a case in 2024, the BBC has heard a voice message sent by Izarnik or Polina to a mother whose son was serving in the military. Polina says the woman has published something horrible about the Russian army using expletives. She threatens the son's life and warns the woman, "I'll find you and all your children." This is what this bitch is like. She will send death threats if you speak out against her, if you say anything against what she's doing.
And this is why I think she smells like a tin of Stramen, because her personality is so toxically disgusting.
Yeah. In notes sent afterwards, she said our work was not professional, so she's going after the BBC, and warned of potential defamation proceedings. Like, okay. She also said our respected Arabs can stick their accusations up their asses. Oh, okay. Cash incentives. Yeah, fuck her. If she gets hit with a drone strike from Ukrainians, I will not shed a tear. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Oh, Harvey Weinstein is scared to death about dying in prison, according to the Rolling Stone. Harvey Weinstein's lawyer told Manhattan judge on Thursday that his client would consider a plea deal in relation to his rape charge if there was a court offer that could run concurrent to the sentence he's now serving, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Weinstein, who is awaiting a new trial after his 2020 conviction was overturned, has been serving time in New York's Rikers Island since April 2024. Speaking directly to Judge Curtis Farber ahead of trial's March 3rd date, Weinstein described his stay at Rikers Island as a march to my death. Okay, so what? And he's haunted by the thought that I will die here unseen and unheard. That's what you need to do, Harvey. You disgusting predator. That's what you need to do. You need to be unseen and unheard. The conclusion of a retrial in June, a jury found Weinstein guilty of one of 3 charges against him. A count of criminal sexual act, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I know I was unfaithful. What? I know I acted wrongly, but I never assaulted it. Go fuck yourself. We're going to go to a trial for a 3rd time. Oh, God. I'm so sick of these rich fucks just getting away with murder. Weinstein, 73, still faces a 16-year sentence in California. Good.
Can I tell you something that my mother always used to tell me when I was growing up? Particularly when she was like teaching me like right from wrong.
Yep.
Every time I done something wrong and I would complain, she would have taught me, if you can't do the time, then you shouldn't have done the crime. He is not remorseful for what he's done. He is feeling sorry for himself because he was caught. That's all that is. He is not sorry for what he's done.
No, he's not.
He is exactly...
And he'd do it all again if he could get away with it.
Mm-hmm. He's exactly where he needs to be, and that is in prison.
Yeah. All the lives that he ruined, threatened ruination if they didn't do what he wanted them to do. He can drop dead, go to hell. I don't care. Fuck him. Why do we even consider this guy? Well, anyway, that's the news for today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in and not tuning out. If you've lasted this long, you've stuck it out, want to thank you. And if you like what you heard, please consider supporting the show, Cash App, Venmo, or become a Patreon subscriber. We'd love to have you.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We love reading your comments, and we thank you for your support.
And with that, we will say good night to you.
Wake up, grab a brush and put a little makeup. Hide the scars to fade away. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? Here you go, create another fable. You wanted to grab a brush and put a little makeup. You wanted to hide the scars to fade away. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. I don't think you trust in my self-righteous suicide. I cry when angels deserve to die. In my self-righteous suicide, I cry when angels deserve to die. I commend my spirit, Father, into your hands. Why have you forsaken me?